At this point, the real villain of the Evil Dead franchise isn't the Deadites. It's people who keep opening books that are literally wrapped in human skin. I'm definitely giving out spoilers in this review, okay? So you've been warned. I didn't have a lot of high hopes going into Evil Dead Burns, since the last installment, Evil Dead Rise, was honestly a letdown in terms of the Evil Dead franchise. Sure, you've got a lot of fans out there of the Evil Dead Rise movie, and I'll be honest, when I came out of the theater after watching it, I thought it was a pretty fun movie. It wasn't until months later when I picked up a physical copy and rewatched the film that I realized this movie has a lot of cool kills, but the story kind of fucking sucks. Well, like I said, I did not have high hopes going into Evil Dead Burns. I gotta say though, I was pleasantly surprised. They built a pretty comprehensive story around this film. It's dealing with a lot of family trauma, generational curses, spousal abuse, and domestic violence. The movie opens up and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like a young Bruce Campbell? Nope, it's just a real big pussy who uncovers the knife that he's not supposed to be uncovering. And then boom, the Evil Dead returns out of the lake, killing 2 unsuspecting fishermen. From there, I'm kind of like, where the fuck is this movie going? Apparently the chick that rose out of the lake is the same chick from the Evil Dead Rise movie. I didn't even catch that at first. It wasn't until after the film that Brandon pointed that out to me, which makes sense considering the very ending of this movie. She gets hit by a car and you're like, what the fuck? Then they instantly transition into a nightclub. I thought that was a pretty cool fun spot. We get this dude celebrating his birthday and apparently his brother gives him a pretty badass gift. Only thing is, you can tell that his brother Will is having spousal problems with his wife, some French chick named Kelly. You're instantly kind of drawn in, and at first I was like, really? This guy's a douchebag. Then boom, he gets fucking killed in a car wreck. And the Evil Dead power transfers over to him in a pretty gnarly death scene. Now, let's transition to his family. Family is pretty fucked up from the beginning. You can tell the mom and dad are definitely assholes. Grandma's got dementia, and they definitely don't like the wife, that's for sure. This is definitely where shit gets serious. They go to a dilapidated family home out on some farm, which right there you're like, this is pretty awesome scenery. The scene where the dad kills the dog was definitely fucking disturbing. But it does make sense considering what happens later in the movie. At the same time though, it's like I didn't need to fucking see that. And again, that's when all hell breaks loose. And you're definitely taken for a ride in terms of the violence. We're not gonna break this movie down beat by beat, but I was definitely hooked at this point, and really enjoying the actual story of his family. Lots of blood, lots of gore. It was a very stylized film in terms of the editing and the number of shots each scene got. Brandon didn't like it because he thinks 6 different shots of some dude eating an apple is fucking stupid, which I totally get and can definitely see after the fact. But at the same time, while I was watching it, I didn't necessarily mind it. I will say the last probably 30 minutes of the film, I was kind of getting bored. You're just in a bunch of chase scenes and it's kind of all like, alright guys, I get it. You gotta find the Evil Dead knife. And you gotta fucking take out this Timu Bill Burr the fuck out. And right when you think it's all over and the house is up in flames, nope, Will shows back up and Kelly must end her marriage once and for all. Again, like I was saying, I was somewhat bored at this point. Knowing how the movie was going to end, you knew the house was going to burn down, and then at the very end, Kelly is possessed by the Deadites. Again, somewhat predictable, but still fun at the same time. Now, was this the greatest Evil Dead movie? Hell no. Not even fucking close. You get to the end credits scene, and we see that Grandma's still a Deadite. Then in the final closing scene, we see that Mommy's back, and she straight up takes out this fucking kid. I laughed pretty fucking hard at that part because I thought that kid getting killed was hilarious as fuck. So it definitely brings the last 2 films together, and as for what's in store for the Evil Dead franchise moving forward, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. All in all, I had fun with this movie. The kills were fun. I think the coolest scene was when she was coming down the chimney, and you just saw all that blood come out, and then the head just drops. The dishwasher scene was super intense. Plus, fuck that Joseph guy, right? He let his girlfriend get killed by Bill Burr. What the fuck? I thought there might have been a lot of practical effects in there, but Brandon said he would be very surprised and assumed it was mostly CGI, which makes sense in today's day and age. But it did look pretty fucking cool to me in terms of the effects. This one definitely is way better than Evil Dead Rise, even though I definitely need to go out of my way to rewatch that movie for a third time, just to make sure that it still sucks. If this movie taught me anything, it's that family therapy is still cheaper than an exorcism. So until next time, I'll see you at the video store.